Hey guys, welcome back. I love being a girly girl. I enjoy trying new hairstyles or looking at different makeup tutorials and getting my nails done. I also love exploring clothes and fashion. So I'm sure y'all have heard of fast fashion, or y'all have at least heard of Zara or Shein, but I really hope y'all have heard of the fast fashion industry's impact on public health. So we're going to split this up into two sections. First, environmental impact, and second, social impact. So we're going to talk about the environmental impacts of fast fashion. So first I'm going to just throw some facts at you. There are 42 million tons of plastic waste per year. There are 1.9 million tons of textile waste per year. There are 1.2 billion tons of CO2 emissions from the fast fashion industry per year. The fashion industry is the third largest industry polluter, and this is even more pollution than the aviation industry. Fast fashion tend to use a lot of synthetic fibers, so fabrics such as polyester, and these fabrics are made of plastic, which, as you probably know, is not biodegradable and kind of just pollutes our planet. And every time you wash a synthetic fibrous piece of clothing, small synthetic fibers are actually released into the ocean, and these are actually microplastic, and actually 92% of the plastic in the ocean are these microplastics. A lot of consumption means a lot of waste, and Shein makes, I believe, thousands of brand new items daily, and trends are only very short term, and fast fashion tends to run on trends. So when these trends eventually cycle out and die, there ends up being a ton of plastic waste from these trendy, unused clothing items. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the social impacts of fast fashion. So here's the truth. Fast fashion cannot exist without the exploitation of their workers, because how else do they sell their clothes for so cheap? I'm pretty sure Shein's prices range from $5 to $25 even for these crochet items, and that's a whole other tangent, but basically the point is that crocheting cannot be done by a machine. It's all done by hand, and that's why these slow fashion and smaller designers price their items so much higher comparatively to fast fashion places, because it's all their own hard work, and the fact that these clothing items are selling for so cheap are a dead giveaway that there is exploitation going on in the industry, and truthfully that's just inevitable when it comes to fast fashion. So to give you one example of this, the U.S. Department of Labor found textile workers that were being paid $1.58 per hour in a state where the minimum wage was $15. This being said, a lot of these big fast fashion brands also like to outsource their work to get labor for a lot cheaper, and some countries that have a lot of these fast fashion factories include Vietnam, China, India, Bangladesh, Egypt, Thailand, Philippines, and in Indonesia. The Business of Fashion recently reported that in the first 4 months of 2023, 70 people were injured and 22 people died as a result of their work in the fast fashion industry. Many workers face an ordeal of high temperatures and little to no safety equipment or precaution. A lot of these factories themselves are also structurally dangerous. The Rana Plaza collapse of 2013 highlighted these issues, and some progress has been made for workers in Bangladesh after over 1,000 people tragically died in this event. However, little progress has been made internationally. Many fast fashion corporations target women and children to exploit. They find that these demographics are easier to get cheap labor from. Employers see that children are more obedient and easier to manage. There are no unions, and children don't have as loud of a voice. Children working in these conditions often do so because they come from families of poverty and are in need of the money. And because of their work, they often don't obtain adequate education, which then continues the cycle of poverty. The Center for Research on Multinational Corporations and the India Committee of the Netherlands reported that employers in South India were going out to families and promising their child good pay and food and shelter and schooling to a child in turn for their labor. ultimately, of course, these promises are left un- unfulfilled, and these children work in conditions that are comparable to modern day slavery. Sometimes contractors in engage in subcontracting, which further outsources work to other factories, and a lot of the times the brand doesn't even know about it, and because the fashion industry works as a supply chain, it can be very hard for these fast fashion companies to track these factories down, because of the chain is already so complex. Of course, there's also the issue with these huge fast fashion companies straight up stealing designs from smaller, slow fashion brands, and this happens all the time. Here are just a few examples, but typically these original designers are small and often people of color. So obviously these environmental and social impacts of fast fashion are really terrible and bad, but by you just boycotting this fast fashion brand, it's not gonna do that much because they're already so big to begin with. But I do think there's a really interesting conversation to be made about how to go about consuming fashion and how to navigate the industry without contributing to further worsening the negative effects of fast fashion. Okay, so for example, it's a lot more accessible for lower income individuals and families to purchase from fast fashion companies because there are so much cheaper, and they should be allowed to buy new clothes and indulge in that privilege, and they shouldn't be feeling left out. However, when I'm scrolling on TikTok and I see a Shein haul and it's like 5 big boxes of clothes for this like one person who's already living a financially comfortable life, I think that's where I really just like draw the line, because if you have access and the income to buy from slower fashion brands, then don't buy the fast fashion brands, because you really don't need it. You really don't need to. So low fashion items also are just typically better quality anyway, because the brand cares about the products they put out, and they care about their workers who are making those products. And also, just because people are buying more from a fast fashion brand, that doesn't mean that the extra money that you're putting into it are going to support the workers. That's just not how the industry functions. It will always exploit their workers. So I think the best way to go about the fashion brand is just try your best to avoid purchasing from fast fashion if you can, and to avoid over consumption and be more conscious about how you handle your wardrobe. So this can be buying pre-loved items, recycling old clothes, renting clothes, making your own clothes from unused fabrics, and honestly, like, I'm saying this and I understand how like hard this can be. Like, I think the biggest fault of mine is consuming and buying too much. I think over the years I found that retail therapy was a super effective coping mechanism from me, and that just like isn't helping me. It isn't helping my bank account, it's not helping the planet, it's not helping other people, and I'm just trying to be like transparent, and I'm extremely passionate about this topic, and every time I see those huge like Shein hauls, I genuinely get so frustrated, because just like, why? Like, there's just no need to. And in the end, fashion is supposed to be fun and creative and not create active harm for our planet and the people who live on it. So that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Love y'all.